والصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد سيد المرسلين في كل وقت وحين. يا ربنا لك الحمد وإلى شرف النبي وآله. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Ameen. I bring myself to the door of God, in the name of God, closer to me than all my relatives, creator of relationships and the one who nurtures them best. My devotion and my praises flow to God, the guide and nourisher of the soul and conscience of every being, the one Lord, dearer to me than my own self, the one to whom I belong, the source of my life, the ground of my being, and the origin of my identity. I sing the name of my Lord, I sing the name of my King, King of my heart, owner of my soul, judge of my intentions, the truth of my interactions, and the sincerity of my engagement with Him. My Lord and nourisher of my soul, here I am in your court, honored by this audience with you. I stand before your majesty. I beseech you on my behalf and on behalf of all creation, echoing the eternal voice of all conscious beings, those who came before me, those who are living with me, and those who will come after me. I say, our journeying is to you, and in you we find our strength, assistance, and support. You light the way, and you give the will. You are the end, and you are the means. Guide us on your straight path. Lead us in your good way, the way of eternal bliss, walked by your beloved ones, those who awaken to become witnesses to your abundant grace, who appreciate and fully experience your blessings. I seek refuge in your eternal grace and everlasting light, my Lord and teacher of my soul, from being of those who are blind to your beauty and goodness, who stay deaf to your call of love, those who consume, dishonor, devalue, or take your gifts for granted. I seek refuge in your eternal grace and everlasting light, my Lord and teacher of my soul, from being of those whose resistance has made them experience divine gifts as deprivation, for whom blessings become barriers and opportunities for guidance and closeness to you become the very cause of their severance. I knock at your door, my Lord. I am at your threshold. Do not let me turn away. May this door never become an obstacle. Open my being to you and open the way for me. Amen. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. All right. So who can remind me of where we reached last time? What we were talking about? We were talking about the lumination. The lumination experience. The devotion of lumination. Wudhu, from diya, daw. Wudhu, to gain that illumination, to gain that light. This is what wudhu is. Alhamdulillah. And we were talking about what Imam Al-Ghazali, our teacher, recommends that we do in order to make that experience as full as it must be, in order that we don't go through that experience dead. As we mentioned, he is a teacher of the Ihya. He is the one who, his words are meant to bring you back to life, and his words are meant to bring life to your actions, so that they don't become these dead actions that are robotic, that you've done a million times and now have no more meaning left for you. So what is Imam Al-Ghazali recommending that we do in order to bring life to our wudhu, to our illumination experience? Can we have a mic for our beloved Khadija?
Bismillah. We're supposed to make the intentions with like every action in it, like when we put the water in our nose or in our mouth or on our hands? And yeah, like
Beautiful.
yeah.
Intentions, and we can also call those dua, or the word that's always used in English is supplication, but speaking to God as we undertake each step in the illumination process. Okay, anything else you want to add? Anyone else? Want to add anything? Any other lessons from last time? Talked about how using just a small amount of water, like the Prophet ﷺ, the way that he made wudu, this brings a profound barakah to the experience, and it forces you in a way to actually be intentional about the process, because you don't have an unlimited supply of water to play with. You have to really be aware that you're using the water in the way it's meant to be used, and your actions naturally become more measured, because you have to measure the water in a way. Make sure that you don't use so much at the beginning that there's none left at the end. So this is one way that we talked about that naturally brings you into a state of mindfulness and consciousness. And I would really like to recommend that to everyone. It's possible to buy a little container to put in your bathroom, maybe a little beautiful jug or something that you can have that you really intentionally use, and you can set that up over the bathtub if that's easier for you, and so on, so that you really, that's also a lovely part of it, just crouching down or sitting down and making your wudu. Maybe part of what rushes us as well, or puts us in that mindset of just wanting to get it over with, is that we're standing. And we mentioned that when he is describing to people how to do the illuminations, he says you sit down facing the qibla. And we talked about how we don't sit down anymore for wudu for the most part. And I understand if you can't face the qibla, that's fine, but at least we could try to see what it feels like to do this process sitting down. And you can do that basically by sitting on the edge of your bathtub, facing into the bathtub, and then you can try to experience the wudu in that way. And there's no strain of trying to lift your foot up, into the sink and all of that. Maybe it will take on a different flavor for you. Okay, so alhamdulillah, we're going to continue now. Where we left off. We left off speaking about how we should become conscious when we are washing our arms. And we said that as you wash your right hand and forearm up to the elbow, you should ask your Lord from the depth of your heart, "Oh my Lord, I beg of you, please give me my book of deeds in my right hand. And oh my Lord, judge me with leniency." And as you wash the left arm, implore with your heart, "Oh my Lord, I seek your refuge from your giving me my book of deeds in my left hand or from behind." And we spoke about how these are descriptions of how people will receive their book of deeds, which documents every single action you've done during your life, as well as the moments when you should have acted and you didn't act. There is a book in which all of this is recorded by Kiram and Katibin, noble angels who are always with us and who are always writing down the way that we are choosing to live our lives, the decisions that we're making, the words we're saying or not saying, the way that we roll our eyes or the way we look at someone when someone is mentioned. We exchange a look with a friend perhaps that says, or we raise our eyebrows. All of that is recorded. Somebody is being talked about badly in front of us and people are backbiting and we choose to remain silent. That's recorded for us. That decision is there. Choosing to remain silent when you should have spoken up, or you should have at least left that situation, and you choose to stay and let it take place in front of you, that's written down. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes what a person will say on that day when they open their book. They'll say, "What is this book?" there isn't even a single small thing that it missed out on documenting. Every single tiny, minuscule thing is there. It's literally how God describes this person who, Mali hada kitab. What is this book? It didn't miss a single moment of my life. Everything is there. And why is Allah describing that person like that? Shock. Like I thought I could get away with some of this stuff. I thought it didn't matter. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ emphasizes these things many times, and he even has one of the, I would say, the scariest teachings I've ever heard, which is that it's a hadith, and the Prophet ﷺ says that a person can utter a word that they think nothing of. They think it's a very minor thing that they said, and it takes them to the very depth of hell. But they consider it small. They consider it's not a big deal. And subhanAllah, what really would kind of scare me about that hadith at the beginning is I thought that it was saying that you have no way of knowing. You could be saying something and you think it's small and then you end up in hell because of it. But our religion is not that way. It's not this fatalistic religion where you never got equipped, you don't know what you're doing, and then you're going to get thrown in hell because you said something that you thought was just no big deal. No, that's not what the Prophet ﷺ is saying. He's saying that you chose to belittle that word. You chose to see it small. You know, if you really were to sit and think about it, if you really were to care about these things, you would know it's not a small word. Because what could that small word be? Why would any word take you to hell? Because it's hurtful, or it's disrespectful, or it's a lie. It's not going to be a word that's just like, hey, toots. I mean, if I say that to Mona, she might be like, what's wrong with you? But it's not going to be like a word that she would feel disrespected from. I'm not insulting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not being, that's just a silly little word that I said. Don't imagine that, oh my God, that could be a word that takes you to hell. No. It's just that you didn't bother to give that value. If you were to think about it, you would know that is disrespectful, or that was improper towards God, or that was hurtful, or that could bring about harm in the future. But you chose to just ignore that whole dynamic of self-questioning and self-reflection and remembering that the words you say are being written down. And because of that, in your mind, you left it as a small thing, and that word can take you to hell. And then that's where the shock is from, that, what is this book? I thought half of these things were no big deal. I let myself think that. I wanted to think that. It's not going to be like God just picks out some word that really isn't a big deal and then throws you in hell. Make sure that you get that from what I'm talking about. It's a deliberate belittlement of something that, were you to think about it, you would know this is not okay in the paradigm of the Prophet ﷺ. And the things that are not okay in the paradigm of the Prophet ﷺ, as I said, you don't have to be a genius to figure it out. You can know without even knowing what he taught about those things. You can tell by the effect. I'll give you an example of that. There was something one time that Sayyidah Aisha said in reference to Sayyidah Safiya, a wife of the Prophet ﷺ. She referred to her as, basically she went like this, oh that one, like this, and she showed with her hand that she meant she's short. She didn't say it with her mouth, actually. She didn't say that short person. She said, oh, that one, like that. And the Prophet ﷺ said, you have said a word that if it were to be put in the ocean, it would make the entire ocean najas, impure, filthy. She, alhamdulillah, she didn't say, I didn't say. I mean, she didn't retort. She didn't try to argue with him. In fact, she hadn't said any word. She didn't say anything with her mouth. But that is also a statement, even a gesture. First of all, it teaches us that even the gestures that we make, it's an expression of something. Now, And she did it in a way that was meant to be derogatory, like, oh, she's short, and not like, oh, she's cute, that cute petite one. Otherwise, the Prophet ﷺ wouldn't have said anything. Now, even if you didn't know this teaching, you know that saying things that are not nice about other people, it's not nice. You don't have to be a Muslim to know that. You don't have to have heard many hadiths to know that. You have to just be real and sincere and want to be good in every single way. And live that wholeheartedly. Do you see what I'm saying? And it takes some level of consciousness and some level of attention. And that's it. You'll come to the same conclusion when you look at your life, when you look at this past week, you'll find, without maybe having to be taught directly, you'll find, oh, there are many words I said that were not in their place. And if you don't find that, then mashallah, you're amazing. Or you haven't talked much this week or something, because we all have words that are out of place. Nobody is, mashallah, at a level where we can say every single word we uttered was in its place. And we have to have that awareness, and that will help us too. Just a basic level of interpersonal skill, maybe we could say, that maybe the things I'm saying, I think that they're okay, but maybe they're having a bad effect on another person. Maybe that person is feeling awkward about what I just said. Maybe my commenting even on her outfit actually makes her uncomfortable. How do I know? I have to give myself time and a chance to really think about this and really pay attention to how that person responds. Maybe that person would like it if I commented nicely on their clothes just when we're alone. Maybe they're too embarrassed when I do that in front of other people. All kinds of possibilities if one truly wants to pay attention, in order that you will never fall into this description that you say something and you choose to belittle it, and it ends up being the thing that condemns you. So, and we asked for that, of course, in the first part when we were making our lumination of our mouth, when we asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that process, oh Allah, give me, what did we say? Who remembers it? Give me qawlan sadid. Give me a word that is good, that stands in this life and the next. Give me the word that stands in this life and the next. Right? That's very important. SubhanAllah, we start the whole wudu with the mouth. And as I mentioned before, there's an entire book. It actually is, I think last time I said it was by Imam Al-Ghazali. It is inspired by the teachings of Imam Al-Ghazali. It's a poem actually called the Prohibitions of the Tongue, or the things that are prohibited with regard to the way that you speak. Maharam al-Lisan. So this is actually an entire poem reminding us of everything that can go wrong when you open your mouth. That's how there's a great deal of attention given to words in Islam and in the spiritual path. To being very aware of the words you're speaking, and to speak good or remain silent, as the Prophet ﷺ said. Either speak good or remain silent. One of the basic hadiths that many people learn right at the beginning. Either speak good or remain silent. And many other teachings about how Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ taught Sayyidina Mu'adh, a young boy at the time, guarantee for me that you will protect this, and I will guarantee for you Jannah. And Sayyidina Mu'adh you can tell he's surprised, and the Prophet ﷺ said, I think Sayyidina Mu'adh says in that interaction, oh, will my words be held against me? And the Prophet ﷺ says, is there anything else that makes a person fall into hell than the harvest of their tongues? I mean, that's where it's at. He's teaching this young boy, hey, absolutely your words will be held against you. And look at that beautiful expression, the harvest of your tongue. SubhanAllah, your words have an impact far beyond the moment that you utter something. There's a whole harvest waiting for you, either a harvest of beauty and good or a harvest of tears. That you will be crying because of things that you said that shouldn't have been said. Inshallah, none of us is in that, but these are the very important foundational teachings that we have in this path. Okay, so that is the book that we're talking about then, that we want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give to us in our right hand, which is a sign of joy, a sign of acceptance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with what is in that book. We receive it in our right hand. So we're going to ask for that every time we wash our right arm. Bismillah. Now we come to the next part. Then, moistening your hands, wipe your hair, keeping the fingertips of right and left hands close together. So you wipe your hair with both your hands. Okay? Bismillah. And you start on the fore part of the head and you move back to the nape of the neck. And then it depends. It depends on your hairstyle. So if you have short hair, you move back again. If it's going to mess up your hair to do that, you just stay where you are. So you see many men, they go back and forth because their hair is short. And for women, they don't always do that. Depends on what kind of hair they have. All right? And then bring into you should do this 3 times based on the madhab which is the madhab of Imam Al-Shafi'i. This is the madhab that Imam Al-Ghazali is referring to. That was his madhab. That was his, as we said, his how-to. That was his how-to for worship, for devotion. So the madhab means the method of how-to that you follow in order to carry out your devotions. Okay? Bring into your heart the intense plea, "O my Lord, wash over me with your mercy, and rain down upon me your blessing, and shade me in the shade of your throne on the day when there is no shade but your shade. O my Lord, shield my hair and my face from the fire." So as you're doing this, you are wiping over from the front here all the way to the back. This is the dua, this is the prayer that you're saying in your heart. "O my Lord, wash over me with your mercy, and rain down upon me your blessing, and shade me in the shade of your throne on the day when there is no shade but your shade. O my Lord, shield my hair and my face from the fire." Then rub your ears outside and inside with clean water. And the water should be clean anyway. So rub your ears outside and inside with the water. And appeal to your Creator, "O my Lord, make me of those who listen to a word of guidance and take it in the best way." "O my Lord, make me of those who listen to a word of guidance and take it in the best way. Respond with the best response, and do with this word the best that I can with full blessing. O my Lord, make me of those who listen to a word of guidance and take it in the best way possible. Respond with the best response, and do with it the best that I can with full blessing." O my Lord, let me, with the dwellers of heaven, hear the caller to heaven. O my Lord, let me, along with the dwellers of heaven, hear the caller to heaven. Let me hear when we are called, those of, inshallah, all of us who are, inshallah, dwellers of heaven, people of heaven, let me be able to hear that call when it comes. O people of heaven, come inside now. Come into Jannah. Come into paradise. Right? MashaAllah. We're washing our ears. That's part of it. So that you're asking Allah for the blessing of being able to hear well in this life, and then to hear the sweet call in the afterlife. What do you think about these words? O my Lord, make me of those who listen to a word of guidance and take it in the best way. Respond with the best response, and do with it the best that they can. What do you think of that? Why would you ask for something like that? You need a mic. We need to hear you. We're talking about hearing. We need to hear you.
So that when you're given good advice, you take it wholeheartedly and you apply it in your life.
Okay, there's some nuance in what's being said here, though. It could have said, just let me hear guidance and apply it. Listen to what the dua is. Oh, my Lord, make me of those who listen to a word of guidance and take it in the best way. Respond with the best response and do with it the best they can with full blessing. There's so much nuance in this. It's not just like, let me hear the guidance and then, boom, act on it. There's a lot that's being recognized here about our relationship with guidance. And especially with guidance that comes in words. That is, it's coming from a person, often. Yes, you have the mic?
It reminds me of the ayah, or maybe there are two ayahs, in which the believers are described as those who listen to the good word and respond with obedience. Because that's what, again, it's a special quality that the followers of the Prophet had. And so, Muhammad. And so it just to have that lack of resistance to good guidance and being open to beautiful words and correct things generally, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Raghad. Yeah, let's pass the mic over to Janelle and then Khadija.
Maybe it's also mean understand that sometimes the guidance with the world come in a way the first impression is we doesn't like it because it's not always gentle and really smooth and soft. And sometimes a beautiful word of guidance came with some strength, and you have to be able to go beyond that first impression and really drink like deeply the guidance inside. So that's to me the part of the take it well. And after when you take it well, inshallah, you will of course answer well because you have the understanding of at least a part of the deep teaching maybe someone giving you.
Beautiful, thank you. Janelle got it? MashaAllah.
I mean,
okay, there's more here though. So you've talked about take it in the best way, and then we also have respond with the best response and do with it the best they can with full blessing, or the best I can with full blessing. Candace?
The first thing that came to mind was in one ear and out the other. Sometimes advice comes like that, but this seemed to be like a stop to that, almost like a funnel to the heart. Like this is how you channel it from going out the other ear. Understand it in this way, and in terms of the execution, your abilities are not always the same. So in my life recently, that's become very apparent, and I'm taking this part in more because you hear good advice and you're like, yes, okay, I want to do that. Inshallah, this is how we respond to it. But sometimes you can't. But it's saying to do the best with what you can while you can do it, because you're not always in the situation that you can do it. So to really, do the best with what you can do, and then, in every moment, knowing that your moments change, along your life.
Beautiful, thank you. That's great. Have some more people who want to... Yeah, please, Janelle, go ahead.
thank you. When you read the sentence again, I understand like another meaning of respond. It can be really literally how you respond of the moment you receive the teaching. And to me, respond beautifully or carefully maybe doesn't mean in a defensive mood, defensive way, or always, at least when the people start, always you try to find a way to protect yourself. No, that's not that. Maybe just respond beautifully, just say yes, or like you say, the parole of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, say something nice, or maybe just keep silent during the advice or the teaching someone give it to you. So it can be how you respond directly and how you respond later when you have understand.
Exactly. Timeline and response, yeah. We have Judith, mashallah.
Bismillah. I just wanted to add, to put the things in another way, just
Thank
in
you.
order to go to do my best, what I need.
Beautiful. So you're going to take it from in order to do my best, and then
Yeah,
you're going to take us backward.
exactly.
Okay, let's do it.
So I need to answer in a good way, as sisters share here. But in order to be able to answer in a good way, in the best way, I need to take the teaching or the guidance in the best way. So I need to, as we talk, I need to be humble and accept that I need to learn in order to do my best.
And one more. And I need to listen. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
I need to put myself.
And first, exactly, I need to listen. I need to,
I need to put myself. Remember, we talked about how Imam Al-Ghazali said he advises us never let it be that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should expect you in a place or want you in a place and not find you there, or forbid you from being in a place and find you there. That should be your concern about everything in the way you manage your life. It should be, I have to be at the appointment in the appointed place and time that Allah has called me to. That is not only in your daily life, but even we can think about that in terms of our overall life. What is the place, and what place should I be in at this point in my overall journey to God? Should I still be in a place of reacting with defensiveness when someone is offering me guidance at this age? Maybe when I was 13, but when I'm 43, when I'm 53, I'm still in that place? That's also a way to think about it. So the first part, I love that. In order to be able to do my best, I need to put myself in a position of listening and give myself the opportunity to be around guidance so I can actually listen to it. If I cut myself off from all of those situations and relationships where I can receive guidance, then what hope do I have of doing my best? Thank you, Judith. That was really brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you so much for doing that with what you heard. You really did something beautiful with it. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. So the footnote is, there's a footnote about this, which is quite lovely. So the meaning of this can also be understood in the following example. With wheat, some people make bread, some people make pasta, some people make couscous, some people make incredible cakes and pastries that when you look at them make you wonder how such a thing ever came from the same raw material as bread and couscous. The cake or the whatever that's made, you wonder, how could these two things be even from the same material? Now forget about bread. If you're gluten intolerant, you're like, this whole thing is just not nice. What it's saying is that, subhanAllah, you have access to the same guidance, but some people, they really make a work of art out of that. And some people, they make something quite basic, and some people, they don't even use it. Some people, they just take it home and they store it in a big container, all of that flour, and perhaps at some point it just goes bad. That's what we're hearing about here, is that there's a process to be undertaken. When you hear guidance, there's a way to listen, there's a way to respond, there's a way to do the best that we can with Allah's blessing, with Allah's full blessing, the barakah that He puts into what we do. And there are different ways that you will find people interacting with guidance, and this is where it's at. This is an important matter. It's not just, oh, that's my personality or that's my circumstance. No, there is an art that is within you to develop. You know, if I can't make a cake, I can't say it's because my childhood was a certain way. I could learn if I wanted to, and I know that. If I can't make cupcakes, I can learn. Anybody can learn that, really. But there are choices that I make around that. And I have to be aware of that. We all have to be aware of that. Alhamdulillah. So we ask that Allah would grant us His divine enabling grace to make the best of what we are offered by this incredible religion. That's the end of the footnote. Then rub your neck. This is the end of that particular movement. So you rub your neck and you implore, "Oh my Lord, free my neck from the fire and save me from its chains." "Oh my Lord, free my neck from the fire and save me from its chains." Then wash your right foot and after that the left, including the ankles. With the little finger of your left hand, wash between your toes, beginning with the little toe of your right foot and finishing with the little toe of your left. This is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, according to certain narrations. So, with the little finger of your left hand, wash between your toes, beginning with the little toe of your right foot and finishing with the little toe of your left. After you, or as you wash your toes, pray, "Oh my Lord, make my feet firm on the bridge, the sirat, on the day that feet slip and fall into hell." That's as you wash your right foot, the toes of your right foot. Pray, "Oh my Lord, make my feet firm on the bridge, the sirat, on the day when feet slip and fall into hell." And while washing your left foot, pray, "Oh my Lord, I seek refuge in you from my foot ever slipping on the sirat, the day that the feet of hypocrites will slip." And you should repeat this action 3 times. Again, we're not talking about I don't want you to focus on the how-to. This is the art. He's talking about the art. If you wash only once, don't worry. That could be just your madhab. It could be the school that you were taught in, and that's fine. It's enough to wash once. Now, after, this means that you've concluded the lumination. When you finished your feet, then you've concluded. Now, when you've completed, you should say, "I bear witness that there is no God save God alone. He has no partner, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and his messenger. Glory and praise be to thee, O my Lord. I bear witness that there is no God save thee. I have done evil and I have wronged my soul. I seek your forgiveness and I turn to thee in repentance. Forgive me and accept my repentance, for you are the one who accepts repentance. You are the all-embracing. O God, make me of those who repent and turn to you often, and make me of those who purify themselves over and over. Make me of your pious servants, make me always patient and grateful, and cause me to remember you frequently and praise you at each day's beginning and at its end." That's a beautiful, beautiful dua. MashaAllah. And as you say this, you should raise your eyes to the sky. Should look up as you're saying it. Imam Al-Ghazali says, whoever says these supplications during his lumination, all of the ones he's mentioned, will have all his mistakes and errors take flight from his limbs. His lumination will be stamped with a seal of approval from the angels, and this seal will ascend to the special station at the foot of God's throne. And here it will stay, glorifying God Most High and exalting Him forever. And God Most Beautiful and Most Embracing will write for the servant all this reward throughout his life, even as the servant continues to go about his business as usual on this earth. If you can make illumination like this, saying these words, orienting yourself towards the akhirah, towards the ultimate eternal life, towards the moments that will meet us when we leave this life, and towards what is with God of His abundance and grace. If you can make illumination like this, and you finish it in the way that was mentioned, with that supplication, with that prayer, then it will be sealed with a stamp of approval by the angels, and it will fly up to the throne of God, where it will stay, glorifying God as if it's a being itself. That wudhu will stay there, glorifying God for eternity, even while you go about the rest of your life and your day, and you go here and you go there. Because it's a beautiful action, well done. Wouldn't that be lovely if we could accomplish that by the grace of God? It's there, alhamdulillah, it's there. It's there for us. We should take advantage of that. MashaAllah. So, at the foot of God's throne, what does that mean? The footnote explains here. This is the place of everlastingness, of infinity, where there is no death. This is the place of God's friends and the righteous. So in many different hadiths, it's mentioned about those who are at the foot of God's throne. It's not a physical place. It just means that this is a place of everlastingness, close to God. That's what it's alluding to, let me say. It's outside of space and time. It is pure soul. There is nothing physical about it and nothing material about it. While the water on your body will evaporate and the sound of the words you say will dissipate, by the way, when you come to the last prayer, you can say it out loud. This last one that I mentioned at the end, you can say it out loud. So even though that sound of your words will dissipate and seemingly disappear, the effects of your actions continue on another plane, in another dimension, which already exists. It's there, it's real, and it will always exist. This other plane, the spiritual world, the world of the friends of God, the world of the throne of God, the world of your good actions, it's already in existence, and it will last forever. The power of this particular description of the effect of the ablution is in its bringing to us the vision of the eternal. So the power of how Imam Al-Ghazali talks about your wudu being up there with God and all of this is that it's helping you to visualize or envision this concept that's called the eternal, which is very hard otherwise to grasp. He's giving you a visual of that. After all, this is the resting place of all our actions. Everything we do is being transported into another dimension where we're going to meet up with it. SubhanAllah, we've talked about that before, that when you make a good intention, SubhanAllah, even when you can't actually meet its result in this life, it continues to grow and grow and grow until you meet it in the afterlife and you can't believe that it came from you. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it grow like a tree. We said before that the good intention is like a seed, and Allah will carry it forward for you, and it will be as if you really did that thing. For example, if you say, Ya Allah, every time I go out wearing the clothes of Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, this is her clothes, this is how she would dress, that Ya Rabbi, let everyone who sees me Aslam, let them make peace with you and come back to you. That will continue to grow for you with every passing moment until you find a whole nation of people who became Muslim because of you, who are guided to Allah because of you. And I didn't do that. That didn't actually happen. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will present it to you as if it happened, because that was your intention. And that's a literal thing. That's a real thing I'm talking about. It's real. It's not, I didn't make that up just now. It's something that was taught to me by teachers who know more than us. This is real. It grows, it grows, it grows, it grows. Allah continues to increase that for you. And so these things are already in existence, and you're gonna meet up with these actual results of your actions that are beyond this world and what this world can offer you. There's so many limitations in this world, but with Allah, there's no limitation. There's no limit. So something as simple as just wudu becomes this otherworldly, immense embodiment of praise to God that keeps praising God on your behalf for the rest of your life, and then you find that on the Day of Judgment. You find that in the Akhirah. This is the wudu you made on that day, on February 25th, 2020. Here it is. It's been praying to God for you and praising God on your behalf from that day till this day. Alhamdulillah. It's like a representative to God for you. But the most beautiful thing is that this wudu made it to that level. That's the first thing, is to be able to be at the throne of God, meaning you're there with the assembly. Who is at the throne of God? Who is in the company of God? It's prophets and shuhada, the martyrs, and those who witness God in this life, and those who are the salihin, and your wudu is there, if you can undertake it and accomplish it in this manner. So the eternal is, after all, the resting place of all our actions, where God is present with us, even if we are not aware of being present with Him. The seal of the ablution, then, is like the blood of the animal that we sacrifice for the sake of God. The drops of blood hit the ground of heaven before they hit the ground on earth. This is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. It's a teaching of the Prophet that when you sacrifice an animal, such as on Eid al-Adha or at other times as well, the drop of blood from that creature hits the ground in heaven before it hits the ground on earth. Again, there's no ground in heaven like here. It's symbolic to tell you that this is far beyond the blood and the knife of this world. This is something else. And we know from Sayyidah Aisha as well, and Sayyidah Fatima, alayhim as-salam, they had the practice of perfuming their money before they gave it in sadaqah. Why? Because they would say that it comes into the hand of God before it comes into the hand of the person you're giving it to. What does that even mean? It's not a physical thing, but it's knitting together the material experience of this world with something that is completely otherworldly and beyond this dimension. And we are called upon to live in that space of that knitted togetherness, so that nothing we do is cut from that eternal realm. Everything is tightly knitted together. And the closer you get to God, the closer that knitting becomes, until it's all one. Until you're walking on this earth, but you are completely connected to the eternity. And everything you do is with that dimension very clear before you. And this is the path that Imam Al-Ghazali is laying out. And we said this before, how incredible that the way that the Prophet ﷺ taught us is that these seemingly small actions, but they're not small, they're actually very adna, we say, they're so close to you, they're so within reach, that he makes these doors to the eternal. They're within your reach. He tells us about that even lifting something harmful from the road, it's a path to God. It's a door. You can go through it if you want. And we come across that all the time. And there are so many meanings to that as well. It could be a physical thing, and you should teach your children that as a physical thing from a very early age. As we get older, we understand it's also removing obstacles from the path of God for people. Removing things that will just be confusing for them. Sometimes we have things in our culture that we do that just are weird for people who are trying to come onto the path of God. It becomes a big obstacle for them. We can remove that. And in another way, we can also understand that removing something from the path, he didn't say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the path of God. He said the path, but also it means removing things that you may know that someone has a temperament where they are bothered by, your clutter. Make it easy on them. Remove that. Get rid of that. out of kindness. Because think about it, what does it mean to remove something from the path? It means you already walked there and it didn't trip you up. Let's say it's a banana peel. If for me to be able to remove the banana peel means I didn't fall on it myself. What does it mean? It means I'm thinking about the next person. And that art of thinking about the next person or thinking about the other person, you can apply that across the board. It can be a whole way of life for you. It's not just a banana peel now. It's that this thing is going to be obnoxious for that person. I'm going to remove it. At least while they're here with me, I'm going to be aware that that really bothers them. Let me get rid of it so they don't trip up on it and end up getting so annoyed and end up losing their temper and end up feeling unhappy and end up, that's it. It didn't bother you, just like the banana peel didn't bother me, but I shouldn't say, well, I didn't fall in the banana peel, so why should anyone else? No, they could. Maybe they can't walk that well. Maybe they don't observe what's in front of them. Maybe they are blind. Maybe they have a cane. Maybe anything. Maybe they're busy talking to a friend. Just because you didn't fall doesn't mean that you should assume, what you're being taught by the Prophet is that you should assume that someone else may fall. And take care of that. And that is an aspect of it's an expression of your iman, of your faith, and of your loyalty to God. It's a profound door that you can walk through. So teach your children from a young age to walk through that door in a physical way. The physical, oh, look, there's something on the road, we should move that. The other day, there were like all the recycling bins and all of that had blown into the road. I don't know how. That's a great example. Let's stop the car, get out, and move them. It was not in the main road, don't worry. Just like in a lane that I was in. It's something that you can do and you can connect it to such a great meaning. So teach your children to do that. And then, inshallah, that will develop in them. They'll be able to see it in so many other ways, emotionally and spiritually as well. So the seal of the ablution then is like the blood of the animal that one sacrifices for the sake of God, drops of which will hit the ground of heaven before they hit the ground on earth. All of this description of the beyond, of the other realm, works to lift the veil between the ephemeral and the eternal. All of this description works to lift the veil between the ephemeral, this world, and the eternal. What a beautiful gift from Imam Al-Ghazali. I have to really pray for him and thank him. Lifting that veil, you think it's easy to lift a veil like that? We're so stuck. We take that veil for granted and we're not even worried about what's behind it. We don't even want it to be lifted most of the time. I'm very just contented with my material life. I'm just going to do my wudu in the old way that I've always done it. But here he's saying, let me lift the veil for you and tell you what the reality of all of this is. What's really happening here? Can I show you? Let me show you. SubhanAllah. This then is to awaken our awareness to the fact that we are at once living on two different planes. In the same moment, we are living on two different planes. That of the worldly existence governed by space and time, and that of infinity. We're already also in that world. Our actions are being sent forth constantly to the other world. Therefore, we have a part already in that other dimension. The objective is to reach consciousness of one's existence in the otherworldly plane, even as you exist here on earth. So the objective that we should have is to actually become conscious of the reality and your role and your existence in the other world while you're still here. Don't only become conscious of that once you get there, it's too late. That's the whole message of Islam. Don't wait till you get there, it's too late at that point. Be aware right now. Keep preparing from now. Envision it from now. Love it from now. Yearn for it from now. Send forth good actions for it from now. As our beloved teacher Ansa Tamra says, put on your akhirah glasses. Start to see it from now. See this stuff as related to that akhirah. Everything here, see it in terms of the akhirah. Wear that lens. Don't wear the lens of, oh, how come I don't have this yet? How come I'm not married yet? How come I don't have kids yet? That's a dunya lens. That's dunya glasses. Akhirah glasses is, where am I going to be on that day? When the Prophet ﷺ says that those who have the best akhlaq, those who have the best moral character and integrity will be those who are closest to me on that day. And those who connect to me most often saying, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad, they'll be the closest to me on that day. Where am I going to be positioned on that day? I'm going to be lost in the crowd? Am I going to be on the other side? I can't even see him? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's akhirah glasses. Is envisioning that, praying about that, crying tears for that. One of the beautiful things that Aunt Tamara said when she was visiting here is that we have to take account of the tears that we've cried. How many of them were for dunya and how many of them were for Allah? Look at the quantity. You can easily answer that question. You know it. You know the answer. How many of those tears were really for Allah, yearning for His grace, yearning for His forgiveness, recognizing that were it not for His forgiveness, you would be extinct. You wouldn't even exist. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us that if I were to take you to account based on justice, I wouldn't leave a single living thing left on the face of this earth. You don't deserve to be here. You do not deserve to be here. You don't. I don't. If God wanted to take me to account, goodbye, bye, Shahnaz, you're not here anymore. It's done. Game over. Enough mistakes. Enough. Enough ignoring of blessings. Enough mistreating of God's religion. Enough. No more chances left. You've had 1 billion, trillion chances. But there's His rahmah. Alhamdulillah. But we have to keep our awareness of that reality of who we are, so that we don't get too big for our britches, so we don't start to think that we are entitled to anything from God. We're not entitled. We're not entitled to anything. And so our akhirah glasses remind us of that. Our akhirah glasses remind us of that, because at least as Muslims, alhamdulillah, even though many of us behave like we're entitled to the blessings of this life, alhamdulillah, there is still a sense of humility about akhirah amongst most Muslims. We still have a fear, a healthy fear of what it's going to be like to stand in front of God. So keep the akhirah glasses on, because they will bring about in you a humility that you need, that we need. Do you understand? All right. And there are servants who reach the point of living on the plane of the eternal even while they're here on earth. They actually make that move already. They're no longer kind of switching back and forth between moments of awareness that there's akhirah and then back to dunya for 90% of the time. They actually make that switch, and they're actually completely, it's as if they're in akhirah already. There are servants who reach that level. And I know people like that. I've been very blessed and honored to meet people like that. And I remember one of our sheikhas who is amazing, and there aren't words to describe her, but I remember seeing her as she got older and closer to that time of going from this world to the next. And I remember one of her students saying that these days when she talks, it looks like she's not here anymore. It's really like she's not here anymore. She's already in that other world. She's completely turned to that direction of leaving this place and being in the next stage, the next life. There are people like that, and you can see it on them. And Sayyidina Muhammad said to us, we're supposed to all be reaching that place. It's not some kind of mystical, magical thing. He says to us that when you pray the salah, you are 1 foot in this earth and 1 foot in the heavens. You're already in that, halfway in the eternal already. You're not really here on earth. That is, they break loose of the holds of this world to lose themselves in the light of God. That's what happens. When you're able to transfer into that next dimension, it's because you've broken the hold of this world upon you. You've broken that chain that chains you to the limitations and the silly short-term outcomes that you want in this life that you're so deeply attached to. You've broken that and you've put your sights on God now. You've put your sights, you've put your eyes on the prize. And really there's only one prize to be had, and that is to be close to God in the akhirah. That's it. This is just, as the Prophet ﷺ said, this is not a place to stay and hang around. This is just a place to prepare for that next true life. That's the true life. Use this place to prepare. Don't settle down here. It's not a place to settle down. Don't get all comfortable with everything here. This stuff is not here to last. These are all tools to help you take off, to fly into the next life. And you can even do it while you're here. You can already start to be truly there. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, on the night of the ascension to heaven, Isra wal Mi'raj, saw a man completely absorbed in the light of the throne of God. So he saw somebody in this same position as your wudhu could be in, completely absorbed in the light of the throne of God. And he asked the angel, Jibreel, who is this? Is he one of the prophets or one of the closest angels? And angel Jibreel alayhi salam said, no, this is a servant from your community whose tongue was always occupied with the remembrance of God. That's a very high position, is what this footnote is telling us, that wording being at the throne of God, it's a very exalted place to be, such that even the Prophet ﷺ was like, who is this? Who got this honor? Is it a prophet? Is it an angel? And so if your wudu can be in that place, you've arrived. Well, your wudu has arrived, at least. It's very, very, very big honor, is what this explanation is telling us. Alhamdulillah. So that's it for that. Alhamdulillah, we reached the end of our class. And next class, inshallah, we'll just talk about a few of the last points that Imam Al-Ghazali gives us about the illumination, some things to keep in mind, such as how to use the water and things like that to make sure to not waste water. And we'll give that its time when we come to it, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Any comments or questions online that we need to address? Sidi Terry, everything fine?
No, I don't see any questions.
Don't see any? Okay, thank you. Anything here that you want to say or ask?
I just had a question about the last dua while looking up. I had heard that you're not allowed to make dua looking up, and I don't know if this is just a story going around, but there is the story going around that if you look up while you're making dua, Allah's going to take your sight or something really violent. So I was taught before that you're not allowed to look up and make dua, but then obviously.
Khadijah's like, you're wrong, Candice. That just doesn't sound right.
No, it was said in a way it's kibir, to look up. What are you looking for up there? Look down, be humble. That's the way that it was being explained to me. So,
well, no, there's nothing like that I can tell you about. There are different ways that we are, just like meditation practices that you may know from, I don't know, Taoism or Shintoism. There are ways that we focus. So for example, in certain meditation practices, you look at the mountain, even though it's not about the mountain, you're not actually worshiping the mountain. It's just to have a focal point, to completely focus your sight in order for something deeper to come about inside you. When we pray the salah, when we undertake that meditation, we are invited to look at the ground or to close our eyes. Why? Is there something you want to come out of the ground? No. This is the recommendation of the Prophet ﷺ. That's a way to harmonize your physical senses with the undertaking of this meditation practice. When you make dua, the sunnah is to actually look up in certain situations. Again, just to harmonize. It's not because you want something to happen that to fall from the sky. It's not so immature like that. It's a sense of lifting yourself up from this earth and just, it's almost a physical, let me transcend what's here. That's it. It's all. It doesn't mean that we're saying God is in the sky. God does not have, God is beyond the physical. We said that already, even Imam Al-Ghazali repeated that. It's not about physical space. It's not about time. It's just about something that helps the human being to feel that sense of rising up above the things that are holding you down. And those are, again, we use that language even in our regular, like, what's holding you down? What's holding you back? We don't mean physically. There's an image there, though, that helps us to understand the concept. All right, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Judith, for your wonderful contribution. It really, alhamdulillah, was very moving. Barakallahu fikum. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. وإلى شرف النبي وآله الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. You have a question?